think Italian cafe bikes, usually think Ducati. You know, high-priced, high-maintenance bikes, sort of like a two-wheeled Kim Kardashian. Well, not here. Not this weekend. Where are we? Elkader, Iowa. Annual Motoguzzi Owners Club rally. The Italian bike they love here this weekend? Motoguzzi. What's a Motoguzzi as? Well, imagine more Rosie O'Donnell than Kim Kardashian, but they love her just the same.
In the Midwest, we like our things simple. And very truthfully, Guzzi is one of the simplest bikes that's out there. Simple to work on, simple to maintain, and they last forever. When you start talking Ducati, it's an expensive bike. It's expensive to own, it's expensive to maintain. Guzzi is not nearly in that category, and yet there is a cult following.
The unique motorcycle attracts unique people. It's the character of the bike itself.
The normal person on the street doesn't know what it is.
Take pride in your stuff and you do everything yourself.
If you ride one for 10 minutes, you'll never buy one. Ride it for 2 hours, you'll never be without one.
Motoguzzi is known for its large displacement V-twin motorcycles, which were created in a contest to see who could design a new police bike for the Italian cops. The transverse mounted engine, with its trademark shaft drive, gave Motoguzzi's calling card, propelling the company to experiment with wind tunnel testing and factory cafe racers like the legendary V7.
Everybody here is here for the same reason. They all like Motoguzzi's, and whether they're riding one, they bought one, they want to buy one, they're here for that same purpose.
They're always quiet. There's always a lot of people to talk to. It's not a zoo like your normal motorcycle rally. You can just come and relax.
We have so much in common because the Guzzi attracts a certain kind of individual. First off, usually a more mature individual.
You don't see a whole lot of young people in the club. We need this new small bike, something like that that's going to appeal to the young rider.
V7 Racer introduced that just this year, came out to the USA. It's a throwback to the original Motoguzzi V7. You're not trying to hide any of the componentry or the machinery or the motor or anything like that. It's all just part of the aesthetic of the motorcycle.
I think it's a great bike because it's such a small, lightweight bike. If you look at other manufacturers' attempts at retro bikes, when you get on the original and then you get on the retro version, you notice that it is put on 50 pounds and gained a bunch of weight, kind of like that girl in high school, you know? It's just not quite like you remember her. But the V7 Racer really is just like you remember it. Like that simpler time in life without all the plastic bodywork on the bike. The engine's out there for people to see. Certainly in Motoguzzi's case, we have a long history of sport bikes and cafe racers.
I think that bikes got to the point where you can buy so much performance out of the box that what's the point? I mean, at some point people want to go the other way, and of course the young are always the first people to go another way.
Previously on Cafe Racer.
We don't build choppers. We build motorcycle frames from scratch.
2 1/4, and it's about 29 inches.
When you build a frame, you're dealing with 3 axes. You got to be able to think in those 3 forms at the same time. You just can't lay it out on a flat table, cut it out, and you're done.
All this stuff needs to be calculated properly, and if you get it right, you win races.
And if you don't get it right and you're racing your own motorcycle, who are you going to blame? Working with my son in the shop day in and day out, first of all, is a privilege.
Well, let's see how that fits. I'm the primary GP pilot for our race program.
He has won 2 national championships on bikes that we built.
We're going to be testing this bike at Road America with the ARMA Racing Organization. We need to finish our exhaust system. We need to get our new radiator on there, and then we're due for a paint job. A nice Team Frame Crafters color scheme will be the most obvious difference. This bike will compete in the Sound of Singles umbrella.
It's generally a 4-stroke single. We have 2 classes. It can be any size bike, can be a custom-made frame, it can be board, it can be almost any size.
The weather is not good. When you're trying to test the bike, what you want is ideal conditions.
The slicks are a little dangerous when it gets damp out. You just got to take it easy. So yeah, there's some anxiety and some nervousness. I'm just trying to make sure everything is stable and nothing's going to fall apart. We want to make sure that we're safe and ready to go and no major problems. Then we can start dialing in the engine, start dialing in our suspension, and start to push it and see if we can get up to speed before the race tomorrow. About 70 most of the time. The shifter is fine. My feels like it's way up in the air. And it's in the lowest position. It's just gonna take a minute for me to get used to it. So far, right out of the box, we're on with what we wanted to be. So we're pretty happy with that.
Seat time. I need to watch it on the racetrack. I need feedback from Karsten.
Being a new bike, new suspension, it could be spot on or it could be way off.
I think I got it right. I really do. I have a lot of confidence in it.
Engine is very strong. It turns very quickly. Suspension feels somewhat compliant.
When he leaves the pit, he takes over. And when he comes back and says, we have a problem, I listen.
The front end was fine. There's more work on the back end to go than the front end. You know, I'm not feeling much in the front end. Front end feels planted. It's still running in one piece.
The next element in success is finishing the race.
The jitters always seem to come early in the day. And as the race kind of comes to be, we seem to smooth things out, and I just kind of get ready to do my thing and become relaxed again. A podium finish would be great, but it might be a little unrealistic with the new bike.
At this point, finish the race, everything all together. But, of course, in the back of my mind, of course, I want him to kick everybody's butt. I mean, why not? Why run in the back? That's not fun. But when he has to duke it out with somebody, he'll bang fairings with him, but he's safe.
You kind of strive for the best here whenever possible, and we're really going for a first place on a national level.
You know, you want clear road in front of you. You want those guys play catch-up, dudes. Sorry, we're out of here. He's a better rider than I ever was. It's amazing. You watch him, you say, I could do that. And you say, no, you can't.
Yeah, it's pretty good from the get-go, man.
Cafe Racing.
Where'd you get this thing?
Found on the side of the road on the way down.
A roadside relic finds a home at Florida's Dime City Cycles. New York's Hot Rod Hotel makes room for a classic Norton.
When you're at high speed, it's the adrenaline pump gives you such a high, you know, you just got to go.
An original British rocker dreams of racing stateside.
Couple of beauties here, Benjamin. I know, brother. What do you think?
And pro road racers Eric and Ben Bostrom test the mettle of a brand new Triumph Bonneville.
Well, if I was you and you was me, you're going for comfort just like me. She got a gun and a loading it down. Get on the throttle and get on the throttle. Get on the throttle. I better get on the throttle. Get on the throttle and get on out of town. Yeah, me and a honky tonk will come one. Hit a bottle and forget about my honey. Lady of the night had her arm around.
We just drove 18 hours to hang out with some dudes in Florida to put a bike together that's a complete piece of crap.
Either a lot of heart or no brains.
And you know what, man? We're doing it.
You got a long, long walk back to Tennessee.
They're going to add a whole new element that we wouldn't be able to do from their experiences. I mean, look at the bikes that they've built so far. The Brass Cafe is a pure example of the quality of work. And it's one thing, man, to build a bike for yourself, but we want to make sure it's solid, you know? This bike is going to get built. We're going to take it on a racetrack, man. You know, everybody says, oh, it's a Honda, you know, especially the Harley crowd. It's like, why are you going to build a little Honda? But that's the thing, man. Why not? Lowside, a magazine that's about garage-built bikes, hot rods. We're into all two wheels for the most part, whether it be cafe racer, choppers, bobbers.
I was beat, whipped to poop and pop when we pulled in the one's truck stop. No joke, man, it's suicide. Riding along with the mother of the bride.
Are we there yet? I think we're here, man. Really hope this is all worth the trip.
Holy
What's happening, man?
What the is that? Dude.
Oh my gosh, look at that back wheel. So what do you think? We gotta make something out of this or what?
Basically, you know, the relationship was born out of two guys just talking that said, hey man, we like anything that goes fast and it's on two wheels. Doesn't matter if it's a, 37 knucklehead Harley or a Honda 404.
They're from the same mold that we are. You know, you work with what you got. And, we put our heads together and said, okay, how can we make this work?
Where'd you get this thing?
Found it on the side of the road on the way down.
Well, we found the bike on the side of the road. Yes, that is true.
Oh, well, be careful with it, man.
There you go.
Damn.
There goes the suspension.
Dude, hold on a second. I got to get a better look at this thing. What's up with the engine over here, man?
So I believe they found it on the side of the road. Well, Herb and I discussed it, and we were kind of thinking they did.
All right, so we're gonna do what? On this particular motorcycle, it's a mid-70s bike. There's a lot of stamped steel. We looked at it. We didn't like it. The first thing that came to mind is just chuck it. Yeah, I'm thinking fire.
It was definitely the worst donor bike we'd ever picked up. I'm not going to lie. I think there was a wooden dowel used as an axle in the back. Man, there's really no engine there. You're not kidding.
Yeah, this is pretty bare bones.
It's a complete basket case project, and, it's really a test to see what we can make happen with really nothing to work with.
Dude, you couldn't have found a bigger piece of seriously.
How's that go? Let's tear down. Somebody want to throw on some music?
It was nice of you to, have everything unbolted prior to getting here.
Look at this. We can rechrome that. I'm just kidding. You've used these before or no?
I have, darling.
Okay. All right.
Tim, stand back. I don't want you to burn your skinny jeans. Fire coming out. Like I said, needs a torch.
Oh, you guys gonna be able to pull this off? I don't know if you're gonna be able to make it happen.
Oh, it's gonna take a lot more than the flap wheel to polish this.
It's gonna hold up on the track.
You might be able to use the engine to put in a weed whacker. Trim the track. That's about it. All right, let's go to the beach.
On the next edition of Cafe Racer, the Dime City boys avoid death and disbursement as their Honda project comes to life.
A motorcycle can rust, motorcycle can be torn to pieces, but as long as enough of it's there, it's still got a soul, and you just got to put it back together.
Previously on Cafe Racer.
Welcome to the Classic Bike Experience. Good to see you, Rick. How are you? Good.
Vermont's Classic Bike Experience teamed up with New York's Hot Rod Hotel to create a for-hire Norton Custom.
We didn't find anywhere out there where you could rent a vintage motorcycle at all.
We're going to make a niche market. We want to be the first and best at it.
Is it not a half inch?
Motorcycles aren't our expertise.
Is he going to retire on this job or what?
Classic Bike Experience does this. They can actually source out the bikes for us. They can get them reliable. They can teach us how to maintain the bikes. It's a great relationship.
All right, guys, let's get going on this thing.
We're bringing this up.
This is going down. This is coming up. Once we get the thing up to where we can put an axle and stuff in it, we'll tighten some of that stuff up a little bit more.
We're filling the tank with some electrolyte solution. Got to put the electrode in. What we're doing is fooling it into rusting in reverse. The normal process of rusting is the steel gradually oxidizes, and we're deoxidizing the steel and thereby taking the rust off the inside of the tank. And as the rust starts to migrate from the tank to this, the anode will begin to rust. The nice part about it, once I got it started, I can walk away and have a beer because it runs itself. Typically, we'll build tools to do a job that we have to send out, but that's kind of an independent sort of thing. We do as much as we can. It's cost effective.
The way they solve problems and the way they approach things to say, we'd like a robust fix to this, and we'd like to be able to implement it across all the bikes we build, it's just fun to watch.
The process has been running about 10 or 12 hours, and we're down to less than a watt power consumption, so it's basically done. All that has come off the inside of the tank. That's rust and water and a little sludge. We'll clean that off and reestablish the process and run it for another 10 or 12 hours.
Get the left side in, and then let's stick that stuff in here. And this is a place where putting a motorcycle engine together is probably drastically different than putting a car engine together.
We've got engine builders for that.
Well, the concept of having removable cylinders is not very common on cars. So. Now we got to stop and get that ring compressor out of the way.
Thank God that didn't fall. Do both cylinders fire at the same time?
Nope, but they do go up and down at the same time. So one's coming up on exhaust, and the other one's coming up on compression.
Look at that. There we go.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I think for me, the appeal is the paint. It's the nicest combination of colors on a Norton, and I don't know, the thing just jumps out at you.
And one of the nice things about the Norton is it's a beautifully artistic bike, both in terms of performance and looks. So we tend to find folks who want that sort of stock look and that Norton essence, but absolutely okay with electronic ignition, subtle changes in brakes and carburation from what we call RMS, reliability, maintainability, and safety. So the whole thing still looks and acts like a Norton, but it's got a little bit more robustness in terms of driving it.
Of Cafe Racer, the classic bike experience Norton checks into the Hot Rod Hotel for a one-of-a-kind test.
We're ready to go. Everything checked out.
Give my credit card?
After the break, original British rocker Eric Patterson and his lifelong dream of racing at the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Had this growth in my throat, and it got bigger, and I could feel it getting bigger. What's the first thing you think? Cancer. It wasn't. I didn't know that. So I thought, I've got to do something in my life I wanted to do, and I want to do it. It's breathtaking, really. It's just so vast. You go to the ramp to get in, and there's water there, and you drive across, and you can't see the pits. They're so far away, and you're driving along. There's a mirage in front of you, and you suddenly see that is the pits. It's so far, you know.
Eric, I'm sure he dreams a lot about it. You know, he can dream. You know, and it all visualise what he's going to do. I think it's just in you. You want to go faster and faster.
When you're at high speed, it's the adrenaline pump. You don't think of danger. It's the adrenaline pump. It gives you such a high. You know, you just got to go.
Eric was introduced to that speed rush while racing around London as a youth.
Yeah, we used to race all around this area. Around Windsor was the cellar cap was my cap. Have a drink, and then we decided to go up to London, perhaps to the Ace, or perhaps we go on the coast just for a ride, and just go for it. You know, we always said we'll keep 50 miles an hour. Well, that was the first mile. It was 60, 70, 80, and it was flat out, and it was everyone for themselves. You know, you always want to run in front because one behind was, you know, you don't want to be behind, do you?
Not wanting to be second at Bonneville led him to legendary tuner Dave Degens.
I wasn't aware of Dave when I was younger, but then I talked to someone. And they said, well, you know, if you want a bike built, Dresden's the place to go. So I went to see Dave and I said, look, I've got an engine and I've got an idea in my mind what I want. And we didn't agree on everything. We never did. I wanted this way and he wanted to do it that way, but you know, I had my way in the end. But he did a very good job, and when I got the bike, it was everything I expected.
Before, you know, getting into Eric's, I spoke to Avon Tyres and a lot of different people about the problems we're likely to have. Because I can remember, you know, when we started going faster and faster, as soon as we started getting over 150, 160 mile an hour, we were throwing tread off the tyres. Well, I didn't want poor old Eric, you know, going through the speed trap 160, 180 mile an hour and all the tread come off.
My expectations were, really, I didn't think I would get a record. I didn't really think, I just thought I'd go there and enjoy the actual thing. And when I got there, and I waited, you wait quite a few hours in the queue, and I went down and did the first run, because it's a bit tense, you know, and I was only on 3/4 throttle, and my mate ran out and said, you've done it, you know, go again. I said, no, there's something wrong with the bike. We won't go again, so I took it in, I was running 2 weeks on the plugs. So we jetted it up a little bit, and then next day, I said, right, tomorrow, we're going to go for it. Because you sit on the line, you think in your mind, all the famous people have done this, you know, all the very famous people, and you're there actually doing what they're doing. It was quite emotional, really. And they do a figure 8 with a flag, and off you go. When you get on the bike, it's an adrenaline pump. The faster you go, the more you enjoy it. I suppose the golden thing is 100 miles an hour. You do 100 miles an hour, you feel great. I got 121.795 averaged, which I was quite pleased with. It was like a dream, really, come true, you know? And we did it. I'm not waiting to go back. It's like my annual holiday, and, you know, I love it. I'll put everything by for that. I'm going to go, whatever happens.
Previously on Cafe Racer.
British Customs build parts for brand new Triumphs and make them as cool as old Cafe Racers.
We're focused on real performance that somebody can achieve pretty quickly. Everything's designed like to just bolt on.
The British Customs Project bike is a 2011 Triumph Bonneville Thruxton.
Anything that's not going to be used on the bike, we want to take off the bike. Just get the bike down to bare minimum.
Good job.
Good job. Beautiful.
60 pounds?
60 pounds off the bike.
Cosmetic stuff, we kind of put number plate badges on it. And I think that when we paint it, it's going to be pristine. It's going to be a nice piece for the company. This was kind of like our shot at like a real sporty looking cafe bike. We brought two bikes to the test because we thought it was really important to kind of have a contrast. There's a stock one and there's our bike, and they're basically identical bikes except for bolt-on upgrades.
The sky, the sand, the sea, the land, it's all the me. California style.
Couple of beauties here, Benjamin. No, brother, what do you think? Well, heads or tails? I think, tails. I'm having a great time on this thing. I'm feeling a little bad, so I think I'm gonna let you have a go on her.
Don't feel bad, brother. This thing's a hot rod right here, but I'm ready for the race bike.
All right, cool. Right.
Hi, doggy. And we're back on separate motorcycles.
Man, I cannot believe the difference between these two bikes. Like, this might be the girl that's wearing the big poofy dress, and you're not, you know, and then this is the mini skirt right here. It just puts you in the moment. You get on it, and it's the sound, and then it's the stiffer feel, and then, you know, the more positive leaning feel, and every movement is just accentuated on this bike.
And you just want to hear it. Like, you're probably going to get awful gas mileage because you're just like this the whole time. You want to hear that.
So when it hits the high RPM, is that when you get way up, just throughout the whole band?
Opening it up just puts a smile on your face.
Interesting.
So
That's
you're constantly pedaling the throttle. I could almost be convinced that they were two completely different motorcycles from different eras altogether. I mean, no, wonderful, wonderful machines. And good place to ride them. Yeah, really
great place.
Really nice place to ride.
Couldn't ask for a better day.
Yeah. You guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Super appreciate it. So appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm a little afraid now.
From New England to New York, the story of one Norton's unusual journey. British Customs brings bolt-on performance to a brand new Triumph Bonneville. We'll take a ride on the lesser-known cafe racer, the legendary Motoguzzi.
Everybody here is here for the same reason. They all like Motoguzzis. Simple to work on, simple to maintain, and they last forever.
And Frame Crafters puts it all on the line with their win or go-home attitude in Wisconsin.
When he leaves the pits, he takes over. And when he comes back and says, we have a problem, I listen.
And you was me, you're going for comfort just like me. She got a gun and a loading it down. Get on the throttle and get on the throttle. Get on the throttle. I better get on the throttle. I better get on the throttle and get on out of town. Yeah, me and a honky tonk, come on. Hit a bottle, didn't forget about my honey. Lady of the night had her arm around me. Didn't want my wife said, where's your name? Get on the throttle. Get on the throttle. Get on the throttle and get on out of town. Let's go for a ride in my psycho Cadillac. Let's go for a ride in my psycho Cadillac. Once you get in, you ain't never coming back.
The Hot Rod Hotel is like my field of dreams.
What's here at the Hot Rod Hotel, you just don't see anywhere else without going to the museum. But you can look at this stuff, you can walk up to it, you can peer in the windows. It's like being able to walk back in time in some of the corners of the shop and the things that are here.
The nice thing about where we're located in the Hudson Valley is that we're near all the good riding. So Bear Mountain is sort of the standard destination spot. So if you are in New York City and you want to go for a ride, take the train up. It's 45 minutes from the city. We'll pick them up right at the train station. They're right at the heart of the riding.
All right, hold up. I know what you're thinking. What are cars doing on Cafe Racer? But be patient. They actually have a plan for this one.
Our idea for the vintage rental program was we didn't find anywhere out there where you could rent a vintage motorcycle at all. We have this huge collection of cars, and it would be really great to let people experience the vintage cars as well. So the two components are the cars and the bikes.
Well, it's clear these guys know custom cars. They know Mustangs, they know GTOs. The building motorcycles? That's a different story, especially a Norton Commando. Enter Classic Bike Experience of Vermont. These guys know Norton Commandos.
After meeting with the guys, it was like a no-brainer. They can actually source out the bikes for us. They can get them reliable. It's a great relationship.
You know, it was like two long-lost brothers yakking away when we got together. These guys are Classic Bike Experience on steroids.
They instantly got the project. Like, there was no reason to think, there was no explaining why anything. They were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Nice clean BSA.
That's sweet.
Ooh, look at this. Yeah, this one's ready to go, right?
That one's real nice.
Triumph? Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Maybe we should do that next time.
That'd be cool. All right, where's ours? Where's ours? Oh God, I hope this isn't ours.
I'm a little afraid now.
I didn't know what to expect. I knew, obviously, it was a, it was an unmolested original bike, but it was a little nerve-wracking.
Nothing to be afraid of, guys. Welcome to the Classic Bike Experience. Good to see you, Rick.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Welby and Bill, be working with us today.
Welby, nice to meet you. Bill?
So what you got here is a genuine Vermont barn find. This was taken out of a genuine Vermont barn about 4 or 5 months ago, and a fellow local had it since new and decided he needed to get rid of it. And so now this is going to be the bike that we're going to turn into your dream cafe bike, if you can believe it.
It looks solid.
All right. So what we're going to do is tear into it. It's time to get dirty. Let's do it.
Smart, I would be using socket right now.
Is it not a half inch?
You gonna retire on this job or what?
Only take a few minutes.
Look, I am certainly not ashamed to admit that my level of technical ability is dwarfed by the people we have here in the form of Welby and Rick. Look, it was all taking a long time. Now that I got the gold wrench, it just flew right off. You know, it's all right. Someone's got to be the slow guy.
If a customer comes in here, what they should bring with them is the attitude that says, I want to get reconnected with the look and the sound and the feel of what we call Britain's golden era of motorcycling.
All right, guys, we've made quite a mess today. I think we're in pretty good shape, though. We're going to get these black pieces out to powder coat, engine tear down, started, and wheels are being built. I'd say
nice.
We need a rest.
Sounds good.
Let's hit a happy hour.
Happy hour.
Let's go.
On the next edition of Cafe Racer.
And this is a place where putting a motorcycle engine together is probably drastically different than putting a car engine together.
Oh, God, that didn't fall.
Previously on Cafe Racer.
British Customs built parts for brand new Triumphs and make them as cool as old Cafe Racers.
This is how we designed that whole clamp. We're focused on real performance that somebody can achieve pretty quickly. Everything's designed like to just bolt on.
The British Customs project bike is a 2011 Triumph Bonneville Thruxton.
Get the seat, gas tank, but strip the thing down.
There are some old school traditionalists who are going to look at this and say, oh my God, sacrilege.
Why not start off like a brand new foundation with all the technology? You don't have to kick it 5 times, it doesn't have to leak all over the floor.
This is unique because it's more of an everyman's custom. Most people out there with a toolbox could make this motorcycle.
I look at a stock Triumph and I go, there's so much potential. You can put 10 Bonnevilles together and not one's going to look the same if they've been modified by somebody.
I just don't see the line that you can cross between vintage and modern. There's just something missing from a modern bike to call it vintage and classic. I just don't feel the two overlap myself.
You're going to have to replace these because they get flattened every time you crush these down.
What these guys are doing with their aftermarket parts, I think, is going to revolutionize a lot of the cafe market today. I mean, it's quality parts.
Anything that's not going to be used on the bike, we want to take off the bike. Just get the bike down to bare minimum.
We've got an aluminum battery, basically a box that now contains the battery, which gives us room to put 2 high-flow like K&N filters that just breathe a lot more air. I love trying motorcycles and like, building bikes. I can be a perfectionist at the time, but I'm also very impatient. Why does this feel like it's taking a god-awful...
Because you got a lot of threads to go through.
Rate we're going to take all day. Steve actually is, he's kind of unique. He comes from an aerospace background. You know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to get my shock on first, and you're going to struggle with yours. And he's so meticulous that it can drive me crazy sometimes.
Any airplane, green is always the right side, the red is always the left side, but English Triumph has to do it opposite.
You see what I have to deal with on a consistent basis?
He could be my son. When you get two, a young guy as himself and an old guy like myself, it's fun.
You're awesome, Steve.
We're going to put the chain guard on here.
Chain guard, we got passenger pick block ropes. This bike, we were trying to release a lot of new parts. And Triumph changed like some bolt sizes and stuff. They changed the head of the...
No.
Yep. This would be a 9/16, remember? So this is a chain guard we just got done. We drew it up in the computer. It's the first cut. And obviously we took some wrong measurements because we're actually hitting the chain here. So we've got this new bracket we just cut and measured. Hopefully it goes a little better than the chain guard did. Hopefully we got the measurements right.
If you're a motorcycle enthusiast, you can recognize a good quality part anywhere, and British Customs makes them. And so I think, you know, the old rockers are going to embrace them because they're the guys that are on most of these Triumphs.
The 2-1 is still under kind of prototyping stage. It's a brand new exhaust. We're trying to figure out exactly what it's going to take, but nothing is going as planned.
Isn't that beautiful? They're a modern machine. As much as the factories tried to replicate their roots, it's just too different, and there's not enough oil on the floor below the bike, you know.
Good job.
Good job. Beautiful.
60 pounds?
60 pounds off the bike.
15 horsepower increase. And I think that when we paint it, it's going to be pristine. It's going to be a nice piece.
On the next edition of Cafe Racer, pro road racers Eric and Ben Bostrom test the British Customs Bonneville in sunny Southern California.
I'm having a great time on this thing. I'm feeling a little bad, so I think I'm going to let you have a go on her. Don't feel bad, Ben. This is a hot rod right here.
After the break, Motoguzzi enthusiasts show why their beloved Italian bike is still going strong after 90 years.